Hey, welcome to another edition of Local Focus. I'm your host, Sebastian Noel. I know we are getting deep into the basketball season. You can check out our schedule at proviewNetworks.com, and there's some important games coming up. But doing a rewind a little bit, go back a couple months to the football season, talking some football today with La Cueva's outstanding safety, Colt Mangino. Colt, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I guess let's start with the elephant in the room. That would be the championship game, right?
Yeah, that's hard. Don't want to talk about it, but we got to talk about it, you know?
So, first of all, that championship game I don't think takes anything away from the season you had as an individual and as a team, but just talk about that game.
Yeah, it was a crazy game. I mean, we go up at halftime, everyone's good mood. I mean, we came into that game knowing it's going to be a dogfight. Every time we play Cleveland, they're an outstanding team, well coached, and I thought that we matched up with them very well. We were well prepared when we showed up to the game, and so I think we went into halftime knowing, hey, we have a shot here. We're doing well, and we came out, I think, at a halftime they had a better plan than us after halftime, I think. So we kind of got relaxed, I think, and that was kind of our main reason why we didn't pull out those last two quarters. But I think it was an outstanding game for both teams, and I think the score proves that both teams really left it out there on both sides of the ball. So it was great.
How did that game get so high scoring so quickly?
I think it was just the matter of the athletes on the field, the amount of pure talent that both sides had. It's hard to stop an offense like ours and theirs. It's just the amount of athletes they had on both sides of the ball and the amount of athletes we had on both sides of the ball just reflected the score, because it's hard, especially like these games that we play in high school. The schemes are so well put together by the coaches, so I think that just the score was really ran up just because of the athletes on the field.
How did that game differ from the matchup earlier in the season? Because you guys met earlier in the season, those were two different games. So
yeah,
I mean, how were they different?
I think it's just the amount of growth that both teams showed. I mean, of course, we played them so early in the season. We were a very young team on defense, and they were also just kind of putting back together what they were going to be for the season, and we were put as going to be a contender in the state championships, La Cueva was. So I thought that we had that in our mind, so we knew we were going to be a good team. And I think that the growth that we showed throughout the whole season and the growth they showed just reflected on the state championship game because of the pure growth that both sides showed. I
mean, was that the game you anticipated playing? Because, I mean, that's kind of what we all talked about, right? Was, well, I don't know why we're doing this regular season. It's going to be La Cueva and Cleveland in the end, and that's what we ended up getting. I mean, from a personal standpoint, is that kind of what you were thinking throughout the year, or were you pretty focused on just whoever you're playing?
Coach Back always preaches just 1-0, so we were really just focused on the next game up. Like, we weren't really I don't like to focus on the future because I think that hurts you in the present. So I think that just each game I was just focused on what we can do best for that week, and then getting to the state championship, I had that in the back of my mind, of course, that we were going to probably end up playing Cleveland, but I think I just was focused on the next game at a time.
Now, as a safety, what was that second half like, knowing that they didn't throw the ball at all? You know, and obviously against a team like that, you're not all going to be crashing the box because that's what they're waiting for, right? So, I mean, what were you thinking back there in center field when it was just run after run after run?
It is hard because my position, of course, is in the secondary,
right.
And my good thing is making plays in the secondary on pass plays. So. But I think that I am very aggressive on the run game, so I was trying my best to support the run game. But it's hard from back there when they have all these different things. But our coach had a good game plan of trying to get me in the run game, and I thought I did my best to support the run game. But also when you have threats that they have at the pass game, I can't just stack the box all the time. So it was hard in that second half, not knowing if they were going to break out their weapons in the pass game or not, or if they're going to stick to the run game. So I had to be kind of on both sides, waiting for the pass, but also trying to help with the run.
Was that the most fun defense you've ever played on? Because you guys are pretty hard-hitting defense. You and Mason obviously are just studs. Don't want to leave anybody out. I mean, it's a stacked defense, but is that the best defense you've ever played on?
Yeah, I think so. Just the pure talent that's on the field with the young kids that really stepped up and proved, like Nick Mertz. Before the season, no one really knew who Nick was, and he proved himself in that first game and turned out to be a great player the whole season. And like Mason Posa and having players like that on the field that I can have my back and I can trust on the field, it just helps everything because I can trust them to make their plays. They trust me to make my plays, and it was one of the best defense I've ever played on in my life.
And I think the crazy thing about the season, a lot of people will talk about the state championship game, and then you know where I'm going after this, that West Mesa game, right? Because that made headlines too. From a defensive standpoint, it's got to be a head scratcher because you guys are a great defense, right? I mean, I think the larger sample size shows that. But then here's these two outliers of these crazy high-scoring games. Like, what do you make of that?
I just think that it was the situation we were put in, and we just did the best that we could, and trusting our offense was the main thing. The defense we knew the offense was going to go out there and score, so we had this, okay, the offense is going to score, we got to support our guys on offense. So I think that the high-scoring games were hard for us because we don't want our offense having to go out there thinking they have to score every single drive. So we kind of just came in at halftime having a plan like, hey, this is going to be a dogfight. Like, of course, defense, we're having our one night. Everyone has those games, and it's hard when, especially when there's 6 or 7 of us that are having that one game where everything's not going your way and you can't really figure out what's going on. So I think everyone just was saying, hey, we got to have each other's back here on defense. Like, make the plays you can. Don't try to do too much, and just focus on your job. That was what was preached to us at halftime, was just focusing on your own job. And so it's hard when that high-scoring games like that happen. You just got to focus on your own thing, is what our coach says.
And I would think that would escalate quickly because of the offense, right? You have an offense that's so good as well that, okay, well, Aiden's going to go out there and score in less than a couple of minutes. We're going to be right back on the field, right?
Yeah.
So it just kind of happens
it's
that
hard.
way, right?
And I remember one of our O-line coach comes up to me because I was on the sideline kind of like trying to get the guys like, hey, we're good. And he's like, Colt, we're trying to like hold the ball and give you guys some rest here on the sideline, but we're just scoring so fast.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, we're ready. Like, just put us back out there. We're going to focus on, we're doing our jobs. And it was funny in the moment, just to be like, okay, they're going to score. I know they're going to score.
Quickly.
They're going to score in the next 2 minutes. We have to be ready and get back out there and be prepared and try to get a stop.
And how hard is that? I mean, because, okay, now we're really getting into the weeds, right? But,
yeah.
But how hard is that? Because on a quote-unquote normal team with a normal offense, right?
Yeah.
The defense probably has 5-6 minutes between times out on the field, right?
Yeah.
You got a chance for coach to show you a couple of film clips, maybe draw up some things, maybe huddle you guys up. But when you're literally scoring as quickly as you guys are scoring and you're constantly back out on the field, that's got to present a whole different challenge.
Yeah, it just is, you got to be really focused. And I think everyone on the defense was ready for that, and the focus level was there. The second, if they scored, get off the field and go to our coaches and get what did you do wrong, what do you need to be fixed, because be ready, because we're going back out there in the next 2 minutes. And I think it's just hard in the games that aren't as high scoring. The focus was really there too, because you know that, okay, we're going to get a stop here, but our offense is we're going to have that extra time. So the focus is really there on the sideline to be able to go and watch the film and stuff. So the high-scoring games, the focus has to be even more intense to get out there on the sideline and figure out what's going on.
As a defender, are you ever on the sideline just saying, damn, can we get 3 yards in a cloud of dust?
Yeah, it's hard. I always want to be on the field. So if I could play every single snap of the game, I would. So I don't mind the offense scoring within 30 seconds, and I'm back out there doing my thing. So me and Aiden always make fun of each other. I'm like, can you give us a break here? Like, we're getting tired on the sideline. So that's always, it's fun.
All right, we'll take a break with Colt here. We'll be back talking more about this previous football season. We're with La Cueva's Colt Mangino.
Nelson, he's got 3 fouls, so he doesn't really want to be getting the ball.
The dagger. That's
Gomez!
Inside.
Hostile gives it up. Shot is up. Oh!
Ball goes inside to Duke, guarded by Trujillo. Eli with the tip and the finish.
Schermerhorn on the drive. Yes, strong fit.
She's going to got numbers. Going to
1
make it.
second. She slips it in just a.
Still some time. Montoya, plenty of room. Yes. Wide open long ball for Jason Montoya.
Against the screen, ball fake, but rejected. Oh, rejects it.
Quickly, or if they hold for the final. Wyckoff, yes, count the basket. A chance at a 3-point play for Wyckoff, and a free throw is coming up.
catch and shoot.
E. Hill, give it to the hot hand. Why not?
We're happy for the boys, and oh boy. I guess they knew about it.
One more.
Back with La Cueva's Colt Mangino. We're talking about this previous football season. Obviously, it didn't end the way you guys wanted, but it doesn't take away from an amazing season for you individually and for the team. So just talk about that a little bit. I mean, when did you guys realize, like, yeah, okay, we keep this up, we're going to be playing for the blue at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think it was early in the season we realized when we were competing just at like Cleveland, we lose, but it's still like, guys, we're in this. Like, those are some top guys, and we're such a young team, but we're going to grow so much, I thought. And I think that as a leadership position, I reminded the kids that how much we're going to grow throughout this season, just from the past my junior year, seeing how much that team grew from when we lose 50-0 and come back and play that long semifinal game. I think it was just a crazy thing to see the growth that we put out and having to remind those kids that the growth that we're going to have throughout the season.
Was there a little bit of was it a tough thing during the off season at the beginning where you lose Exodus Ayers, you move out of state? Obviously, that's one of the premier athletes in New Mexico. Yeah. You know, I mean, how did you guys navigate through that?
I think it was just the focus. We knew that there's going to be some kids that have to step up on both sides of the ball, and I thought Ian Sanchez was one of the guys who stepped up huge this year. He saw that, and it's hard to lose someone like X, who's all of our friend. He's one of our best friends, and to see him leave like that was really hard, and he's a great player for us, and that was hard, but I think kids knew that, hey, we're going to have to step up even big this year.
Let's talk about your schedule. That was ridiculous. I mean, I joke with Coach Back, you know, when APS used to make the schedule, I would joke with Coach and be like, man, who did you piss off at APS Athletics to get a schedule like this? But now he's kind of in control, and he still puts a really tough schedule out there. I mean, talk about that schedule. When you first saw it as a player, did your eyes light up?
I think I wouldn't want it any other way. I want to play the best guys in the state. Every game I wish we were playing the top teams. Like, that's just how I feel, and I think that's how our coaches feel and everyone else on the team feels, that every game we want to be in the dogfight, because that just makes us better at the end of the year to fight for that blue trophy. So I think that the fact that I saw that schedule knowing, hey, this is going to help us, not hurt us, because we're going to have to play these top teams right away, and it's going to be a test on what kind of team we're going to be right away.
And, I mean, I agree with you. I agree with that, and that is a well-thought-out and well-put-out answer, and Coach Back would give me the same answer. But in the middle of that schedule, there's got to be a time where you're looking around the training room like, oh, shoot, this is a lot of our guys, our main guys in here. Like, so that's the other side of it, right? Like, you guys are getting banged up through that schedule.
It is hard. I mean, we did get banged up, but just knowing that this is what we want, like, this is what we play football for, is to play these tough games, and I think everyone is so mentally tough on our team to be able to get treatment and say, hey, I'm going to take today to rest so that on Friday night I'm going to be good, and the mental toughness that I think our team had to go through that strength of schedule was really well.
And then the other part of it is, too, I think most people knew that the district was going to be not tough, right? I mean, respectfully, that district wasn't very good this year, and I think most people knew that. So those games in the front really were necessary because you knew the district was not going to give you guys the test that it normally does.
Yeah, and it's hard to go through that and then have to jump right into playoffs. So that's why I think that we were just so focused in those front stretch games, saying this is how it's going to be in the playoffs and this is how we're going to have to play in the playoffs. So that's why I think that it was so good that we played those games early. But I wish we would have played some of those games later in the season. But at the same time, that the healthiness of our team and everyone being healthy going into playoffs was really well.
Is the rivalry with El Dorado, is that still a thing? It's got to be hard to be a rivalry when you guys are so good and they're so down. So take me through this latest chapter of that rivalry, which was this year.
Yeah, it's hard. It is still a rivalry, I believe.
You don't have to sugarcoat it. I know you still want to kick the crap out
of
it.
Yes, yeah.
But it's different, right?
It's different rivalry just because the strength of the game is a little bit different than it has been in some past years. But I think the rivalry of the schools is still a thing, basketball and everything. The rivalry is still always going to be there. But I think the football game perspective is not as big as rivalry as it has been in the past years.
All right, the last thing I want to talk about, you had to miss a game because of that hit in Los Lunas, right?
Yeah.
So that was tough as well, right? Like, take us through that.
Yeah, it's just hard because my intentions were never to do anything dirty or like that. And I'm just playing football, as you could say, I do hit hard and I am an aggressive person. So when I get something like that, it was just a in-the-moment type of play. I wasn't going for targeting or wasn't going for any of that. It just kind of happened. And it's hard sitting there on the sideline going, well, I could have done this differently.
Right.
I could have done this differently. And I think that honestly really changed my whole game for the rest of the year because I did have to lay off a little bit of some of my hits that I could have made a little bit harder.
Right.
But I kind of just had to take my licks and say, hey, this is how I have to play now. The rules have changed. And I think the Las Lunas game really just showed me, okay, I got to change my ways a little bit. I can't hit as hard. I can't do this. I got to do stuff differently. But missing that one game my senior season is something I can't get back. And it is really difficult to think back saying I had to miss that game.
I'm sure you were hearing some of the outside. I'm always, I don't know what's the word, perplexed would be the word, or no, disgusted at the way adults behave when it comes to high school sports, right? So I'm sure you had to hear some of that outside noise, right, that week or the week after,
I mean, it's
right? Because I know I had to find myself defending you, defending Coach Back, right? And I'm like, you don't know these guys, man, for you to make those kind of comments. So how hard is it to kind of control that outside noise when that happens?
It's hard because, of course, you see it.
Because everyone wants to say, "Oh, Coach Back, he's
doesn't
terrible.
know
He teaches them how to do this."
Exactly.
And but they don't know Coach Back, and they don't know you.
Yeah.
And so that's got to be very hard to put that behind you and keep working, man. Because the goal is still in front of you at that point, right?
It's hard because, of course, like I said, that's not my intentions. That's not the player I am. I'm not ever going for a so dirty hit, and so it's hard when you see noises like, he's dirty, he's a dirty player, that was a dirty hit, and it's hard because that's not what I'm trying to do. And them going after Coach Back I thought was ridiculous because that Coach Back has nothing to do with how I'm playing.
Right.
He does teach us the ways to play, but he's not teaching me to do
Right.
that. So I thought that was crazy for them to come
And that
after
can
me.
kind of, obviously the goal at the end of the year is the Blue Trophy, and I just remember that happening. That can derail things, right? Because now you're having to deal with distractions, right? And so how did you put those clearly in the rearview mirror and move on?
I just think I'm way more mentally tough than a 50-year-old attacking a 18-year-old high school kid. If you can go on Twitter and attack an 18-year-old, have at it, buddy.
Right, yeah.
I'm way more mentally tough than you. I'm going to laugh at it. I'm probably going to like it, and I'm going to close my phone. I don't need that in my life. I'm way better than you. I don't need that.
That's good for you, man. Good. That's a very good response. That's a very good response. We'll be right back with Colt after this.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of Proview Networks.
Back with Colt Mangino, and as I look over at that jacket. Obviously, a football career that's pretty storied at La Cueva. So it's a career that you can look back on very proudly, but probably not the last snap you're going to take, right? So what's next for you in your football life?
Yeah, obviously I'm blessed to be able to play college at or football at the next level. So right now I'm just talking with my family, of course, and coaches and seeing what's best for me and really taking into account of what would I fit in perfectly at a program at the next level. So I think that I'm definitely going to be playing college football though.
So what goes into that decision? What needs to happen? I mean, obviously we know the Aggies are on the table, right? And so with that comes other offers. So what goes into that decision? And just take me through that. And who's your support system that's going to help you make this decision?
Yeah, the decision comes down to what's going to be best for me academically and what's going to be best for me to get on the field the best way I can get on the field quickly. So I think that I talk with my dad, of course, a lot, and Coach Back, of course, is always going to help me and have my back, and defensive coordinator Coach Hurley on my side is always going to have my back. And if I need anything or any sort of, hey, Coach, what do you think I should do, they're always going to have my back. So I think that my dad and my family, of course, are always going to be there for me and respect my decision, but they have a lot into it of what I should do and what they think is best for me, too.
Now, the Aggies are definitely trending in the right direction at the moment, aren't they? The way Coach Kill has come in, and I know I'm not going to wrestle it out of you here today, but they are definitely trending in the right direction, right?
They are. Coach Kill has a really good program down there. I think that they are finding ways to get the dudes they need to put themselves in a position, and of course they're playing in the bowl game this week, that's outstanding for them. So I think that they are doing everything right now to get themselves in a top program situation.
So are you going to be very interested in that bowl game?
I would say very interested in the bowl game.
Yeah. All right. Whenever you're ready to make that announcement, I'll be here. Okay. All right. I do want to get some baseball talk in. I did not know this, but you're not going to be playing baseball this year.
Yeah. So I finally came to a tough decision with my family and coaches that I'm not going to play baseball this year. I'm going to focus more football side and run track this year to try to get faster, so to play college football as quickly as possible. So it's hard. It's a hard decision I had to make with my family and Coach Pineda at La Cueva, but it's just something that I thought that I had to get done to make myself succeed at the next level for football.
What was that conversation like with Coach Pineda? That couldn't have been easy.
It was very hard for me. It took me, I think, too long to say. I couldn't get the courage to go up to him and talk to him just because it's so hard. He's done so much for me and the program at La Cueva, and to have to tell him, like, hey, sorry, I'm not going to be able to play this year. It was hard for me, and it was hard for, I think, even the team just to have to tell the guys, like, hey, sorry, I'm not going to play this year. And those are my guys they play football with me, and some of them are just my baseball guys, and it's hard that I'll never be able to play baseball with them again. But it was definitely a hard conversation I had with Coach Pineda.
But you were telling me before we went on the air that you kind of fell out of love with baseball.
Yeah, it was.
So what is that like? I mean, that's real. That's honesty. Like you're saying you fell out of love with the game.
It's just something real. I really just stopped enjoying it. I stopped enjoying everything about it, and it was hard to have to put myself in a position where I'm going to go out there and possibly take reps and positions from someone else who really wants to be there. And I didn't think it was fair, especially for me, who I really sat there and considered that I don't like it anymore. It's just not for me. I've played it my whole life, and it's hard just to say that. Truthfully saying I just don't like it anymore. I fell out of love for it because of just outside reasons, and I didn't want to have to play this year not loving the game and disrespecting the game by not loving it and taking position or at bats away from kids who really do want to be there. And I think that the football path has really drawn me away from baseball in a sense that I want to play football at the highest level I can. So it was hard to get rid of baseball, but I just fell out of love for it.
What does football have, or what's the hold that football has on your heart that baseball doesn't anymore? What's the difference?
It's just hard because that's just what my whole life has just been football, and being able to finally. I was growing up I was little. I wasn't the biggest guy. I wasn't the tallest guy. But I had so much love for it, and size didn't matter in baseball. So I always played baseball, and then I finally got the opportunity to get a little bit bigger, and being told, hey, you're going to be able to play college football was something that I will never forget. Someone telling me, hey, you're going to be able to play college football. And that just brought me so much away from baseball, saying I finally have the size, I'm big enough, and I'm going to play my dream of playing college football. So I think that's what really has my hold on my heart right now is football. So
the guy that was in here just before you last week was Jabby Cooper, right? Another guy that's football, baseball. And we talked about how strange of a combination football, baseball is, right? Most of the time it's football into basketball. And he kind of talked about how football and baseball are pretty independent of each other. You know, the workouts are different. Everything's kind of different. They don't really complement each other like say, track and football or wrestling and football. Does that make it easier, the fact that they're so different and so independent and so apart on the calendar? And
it does make it easier when you're playing the both sports, because you can really focus on one sport at a time, because if you're during baseball season, it's baseball season. When it's football season, it's football season. So I think that aspect of the football, baseball really is nice to have it 2 separate seasons. But I do think that playing free safety, playing baseball does complement me on my ball tracking skills, and I think that without baseball, I don't think I'd be a free safety like I am right now.
Now, even though you're not playing this year, I had already prepared to ask this question, so I'm going to ask it anyway. I always marvel at La Cueva's football and baseball programs, but particularly the baseball. The last couple of years, every year, I can remember 2 years ago, I thought, man, they're really going to have trouble replacing Nico Sandoval's bat on the top of the lineup. I just thought he made everything go. I was so impressed with him as a player. I said, Nico and then a couple other pieces. Man, how are they going to get right back to that spot next year? And then sure enough, there you are last year, right back there. But I find myself in that same place again, telling myself, well, how are they going to replace Achille Karras, Dene, all those seniors right now, you leaving? Like, are the Bears going to be right back to where they always are, or is this the year finally where maybe they have to rebuild a little bit?
I really believe they're going to be right back where they are, just because of the athletes I see at La Cueva walking around the halls is crazy. I don't think any other school has the amount of athletes that La Cueva has. And every year you don't really see it, but the JV teams are going undefeated and the C team are going undefeated or winning heavy amounts of games. And these kids are easily varsity level players. So they're just waiting for their turn at varsity. So when they do get their turn, they're ready and they're hungry. So I think that's why La Cueva every year continues to be in the end, or there in the end, because of the talent that we have at La Cueva. And so everyone just stepping up is really there.
All right, last question now. Bowl game. Are you going to be watching that on TV or in person?
No, I'll be watching it on TV.
Okay, well, are you going to be wearing any kind of gear that day, you think?
Maybe a little maroon, maybe.
Okay, yeah, so you'll be wearing some you've already mixed some maroon into your wardrobe?
I have a little bit of
maroon.
Couple shirts? Yeah, a couple shirts, maybe a jacket.
Jacket, you have
I have some.
All right. Hey, man, good luck. I'm a big fan of yours. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for coming, and thank you for watching. Good night, everybody.